Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. This week at the Round Table of Dim Lighting, we're asking the question, if you were a boat, what type of boat would you be?
And this might strike you as an odd question. Maybe you've thought about this before.
I've never thought about it.
We got this question from Mr. Alex Punch, who has moved on to bigger and better things, still remains good friends. He actually stopped by today. He didn't tell me he was gonna be here.
Mythical crew member emeritus.
Yeah,
so let's call him that. So we're happy for Alex as he had a great opportunity working for somebody. It's not me, so once he told me he had an opportunity and we heard about the specifics, I was like, oh yeah, okay, well, I don't remember. No, I'm not gonna promote his company.
We wish him well. We wish him well.
We wish him well, we love him.
And we're using one of his ideas for this podcast. This is an idea that he actually pitched for an Ear Biscuit. He said that his mother was a child therapist.
He said counselor, I think, maybe therapist too.
You know, something along those lines. And that this is a question that she gets the children that she works with to ask and answer.
And if we've proven anything, if something's good enough for children, it's good enough for us.
Man children?
Yeah.
It's good enough for children, good enough for man children.
So really this was it was basically, it was an idea conceived by Alex's mom, along with Alex conceived by his mom.
It's probably in
by the way.
It's probably in some sort of book or something that she studied.
Well,
you think she came up with it?
Let's just say we came up with it.
Well,
and let's cut everything we just said.
Okay, all right. We came up with this question.
We got this idea that we think will be good for child counselors and therapists. What kind of boat would you be if you could be a boat? Because it gives insight into how you view your own
self,
your personhood, your
and
personality.
We're gonna answer the question for each other.
Get into that.
We're gonna answer the question for each other as well. We're gonna guess which boat. I'm not trying to guess which boat you described yourself as. I'm just describing, my thought was to describe what boat I thought you were, and you may or may not agree.
Yeah,
and then you can tell me what boat you are and vice versa.
I know what boat I think I am, and I know what boat I think you are, which I incidentally think is the boat that you think you are.
And I would be, but we are gonna talk about the different types of boats, and so my answers may change. But as it stands right now, just with my limited knowledge of boats that coming into this, I'm not a boat master. You know, I like to think of myself as a waterman, but I've only been in a few boats.
What is a waterman?
It's just a man of the water.
And you think of yourself that way? You think of yourself as a man of the water?
Yeah, like my heritage. You know those Scots up on the locks. Okay. You know, crossing the locks and swimming and boating and Vikings
I
pillaging villages.
I get it.
But not really doing that personally because I get a little seasick. You know.
I think of myself as a soilman. Like a man of the soil.
And I think that your last name, we talked about this at some point. I think that your name Neil means to like kneel and plant a seed.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's a man who
I don't know what it
kneels
means, but that ain't it.
And caresses the soil. I think it's a farming thing. I do think it is a farming thing.
Yeah.
You know, a man of the soil, man of the water. Water's gotta have soil, soil's gotta have water, so you can have mud. And that's why we're the muddied boys.
We're the muddied boys.
Okay, no, not muddied boys, just the muddy boys.
But we should talk about yesterday, because yesterday was technically a work day, yet.
Speaking of child therapy.
We didn't, took advantage of time that we rarely have to not come into the office, and also, red alert, not really work that much. Last, like coming back from Thanksgiving break, I looked at the whole calendar year for 2019 and I was like, I wanna go ahead and put all the stuff on the calendar that we know about, like we're doing a lot of touring stuff, we're shooting a lot of GMM, of course. I wanna know every day in 2019 that we're shooting anything and obligated to stuff. Right. And I wanna put blackout dates like the credit card companies do, or like Disney does when you buy an annual pass. So,
right.
Jen and I worked very hard on this calendar.
Oh, so that Blacked Out Monday was months old.
That's from Thanksgiving last year, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I guess I didn't tell you.
You didn't tell me because it was Sunday night. My wife was with you and Christy.
With Jessie. She was hanging out with us.
She said, "Are you working tomorrow?" I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, Link's not.
And she was with me and she was like, I was like, listen,
Please tell me these
don't
things.
put me in the middle of this. It's on the calendar.
Yeah, but
it's on the special Lincoln Jenna calendar.
But it's a Monday.
That you were invited to.
It's a Monday though. It just, I mean.
Yeah, but after tour, I'm not, anyway.
No, I'm glad. I didn't come in.
Because watch out buying that annual pass. Look at the blackout dates first.
You show up to Disney and you're
they
like,
turn you away.
What? No.
You have to drop $1,000 to get in there.
So we had a day with I had a day with Shepard, my youngest. You had a day with.
Well, me and Christy hung out, and then
your middle.
Well, I mean, Christy and I were gonna hang out and do some stuff, and the mail had really piled up. But then Lily was sick. She called and had to come home from school. I was like, well, now you got to go get her, and now I got to figure this out, and I'm gonna do a little bit of work, and so then, but then I picked up Lando, and then I picked up Lincoln from school. It's just like, whoa, it just feels great to pick up a kid from school. It feels like I'm dadding so hard. Look at me driving up. Get in the car, kid. I'm gonna be banging some Chicago, blasting Chicago. I'm not banging Chicago. Sounds like I'm having sex with the band Chicago.
Yeah.
Which I've never been given that opportunity, so I can't say what I would do.
Or the city of Chicago. I'm sure there's a place, there's some area you could find.
Blasting.
Did you blast it for real?
I blasted it, yeah.
So like with the windows rolled down? So you're trying to embarrass your kids?
Not with the windows rolled down, but when he opened the door to get in, it just spilled out. Chicago just blew out like the Windy City.
And what, was there Dad, a quick shut of the door, or was there an embarrassment factor?
Lincoln doesn't do that. Lily's the one to do that, and Lando for totally different reasons. Like, I don't know, I won't get into that, but they both have their reasons. But you know, the middle child, he just goes with the flow, man, whatevs. And he gets in the car and he's like, oh, you got the bikes on the back. I'm using your bike rack a lot. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you haven't brought it back.
I keep using it. Somebody's got to use it.
Well, I
bought Lincoln a mountain bike.
Like to use it.
Bought Lincoln, well, just call me.
That's not how it works.
Just call me if you need it. I
Bring
really
it back to
need
my
it.
house and then, or get your own.
Well, I already have yours. I really didn't want to talk about this because I didn't want it to come to this, but.
Because you knew that it would.
It's mine now.
No,
that bike rack's mine. It's you made a good choice in buying it because it works great. So
yeah,
I like how it works.
Rack. It's the best.
Right.
Highest rated.
You should get another one for your house.
And then I'll sell it to you for the price of a new one.
I already have one.
Yeah, you're gonna buy me a new one.
So I actually bought myself a new bike and I gave Lincoln my old bike because I got a bigger one. And
you got a new mountain bike?
I did, yeah.
When did this happen?
I got a 29er. When I borrowed the thing from you like 2 months ago.
You got shocks in the front and back, dual?
No, I only got them in the front because my old bike, which Lincoln was going to ride, is a hardtail. And I didn't want him looking at my bike and have any excuse for why he doesn't want to ride with me.
Oh.
So
okay.
Mine's a hardtail. And so he's like, oh, you got the bikes on the back. I was like, yeah, remember I told you I was gonna pick you up from school. We're gonna go biking. And he knows, I can't tell if Lincoln's into it yet or if he knows that I'm so into it that he's just being very polite so he doesn't put up a fight. So we went and we were biking on this single track, and it's I picked something that wasn't too ambitious because I don't want to burn him. The thing is, the last couple of times we've been out, I've taken Lando too, and I was very delinquent in teaching Lando to ride a bike. Like literally, I taught him to ride a bike 3 months ago.
So you can't.
He's 9 years old.
You're not going to go up and down any hills with that situation.
But then that bike was too small, so then I had to buy him a bike, and the only place in town had these they were like mountain bikes, and I was like, so he went from learning to ride a bike to a week later, like riding a mountain bike. But that's the key. Don't try to teach, you parents out there, don't try to teach your kids at a young age to do anything. Wait until they can basically figure it out on their own, and then take all the credit.
That's not
My son learned how to ride a bike in 10 minutes. And 2 weeks later, he was on a mountain bike in the woods because of me, waiting until he was way too old to learn how to do it. That goes for reading, that goes for math, that goes for.
This is questionable on many levels.
It goes for like relationships. Don't have open communication with your kids about anything until it's basically too late. And then you can take all the credit for how they're doing everything perfectly. Yeah, this is kind of fizzling out.
Yeah.
I'm a soil man. It's
right, yeah.
You know, it's different for me than most people. But I will say, we get out on this single track and I was like, Lincoln, you go in front of me, that way you can set the pace, I can keep an eye on you, I can bark orders to you. Like, shift down, shift up, like just coaching.
Oh, coaching you call it.
You gotta learn how to mountain bike from the back. If you're in the front and you're yelling, you can't be heard. Because all of the sound fires forward down the trail. There's horses on this trail. I wanted him to go first in case he was gonna like run up and took us of a horse. That ain't gonna be me. Get a handlebar and a horse took us?
So is he, what kind of, we're not talking going up and down steep grades.
A little bit, yeah.
And he's fine with this.
He's afraid. I took, what I was saying was I took Lando out on this trail a few days earlier. I always get so ambitious and I scare my kids off, and like Lando's like basically huffing and puffing and like breaking down in tears and saying, Dad, you lied to me. You said this is gonna be flat. And I'm like,
You lied to me.
Lando, you're right. I'm sorry. We can turn around right now. I'm just trying to like patch it up because I don't want to turn him off from, you know, this my passion.
Mountain biking is your passion?
It was my passion. I lost it. And I'm trying to regain it.
Okay.
With my boys, with my children, with Lily too, but she's just not. She's not up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to turn around, and I'm like, Lincoln, we're gonna come back, just me and you, and we're gonna blaze this trail without the loser kid. And all I mean by loser kid is the one that we kept losing.
Okay.
I love him, he's not a loser, but we kept losing him, so doesn't that make him a loser? That makes me a loser.
On 2 levels.
That's true. So we went back and we're on this trail and Lincoln's going ahead of me, and I had a moment that I was like, a moment of dad gratitude, de-gratitude. And I was like, this is a dream come true. Like literally I've been, well, not dreaming, but I've been like daydreaming about this moment where I'm like mountain biking on a single track with my own progeny.
What specifically happened?
Nothing, we just rode the bikes.
Oh,
it was special. It was special.
I thought like his helmet got in front of the sun or something.
You thought I was building up to a story?
I thought something specific happened.
That happened, man. A moment of gratitude. Like, I mean, just, you know, you and your boy doing something.
Yeah, I had a crepe with my boy.
You had a crepe? Did you have a gratitude moment with a crepe?
I had an excellent day with Shepard. I mean, we really had a good time. We got lunch together. He has a crepe problem. If there's a crepe on the menu, he will order it.
How's that a problem?
Well, yeah, I would say it's a borderline addiction to crepes. Oh, wow. But you know, there's a lot worse things to be addicted to.
Is he
crepes.
like stealing money from your wallet and you're like, what are you doing? You're like, you like bust in the room and he's like,
I learned it from you, Dad. I saw you eat a thin pancake.
I'm scraping together scratch for a crepe.
We split the crepe. You know, we each had a sandwich. We split the crepe, having a great discussion. We've each got a
Were you in Paris?
No, just, you know, they serve crepes at US establishments.
Oh, cool.
Although this was a French bakery. And then we went to a park that has just all kinds of things going on. And so we each took a book, and I was like, Shepard, do you have a book that you could read? Because it was a beautiful day. We're gonna walk around.
Beautiful day,
We're
wasn't
gonna
it?
find a bench.
Wasn't it the perfect day?
Yeah, and do some bench reading. You know, screw mountain biking when you can read on a bench.
A bench is like a mountain bike.
That doesn't move. Can't get hurt on a bench.
I can prove you wrong there.
But so we go and and Shepard has in mind, this is a large area and there's all kinds of stuff at this place, and he has a map, and he's like, I'm letting him lead, and he's like, you know, he's having a lot of fun. And he's like, we need to find a desolate bench. I was like, I'm on team desolate bench.
He said desolate bench.
I'm completely on board. He said there's a lot of
people.
He's
11 years old, right?
10. He's like, 10. There's a lot of people here.
Desolate bench.
And we need to find we need to go to the most desolate place. So we go to a desolate place, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. We're talking, we're, you know, making observations about the natural world, and we begin reading, and then as soon as we get down, like we read like 2 pages of our books, and then Shepard's like, I got to get some water. And he's like, Dad, will you let me use the map to map to a water fountain?
Wow.
And then come back.
This is quite a park. It's got its own map.
And I was like, yeah, go for it. Independence, I value that. I'm a proponent of it. He goes, and then really the idea wasn't to get water, it was to go away and then try to sneak up on me.
Oh.
He wanted, and so.
He's got that gene.
Yeah, and so like I'm
sitting
there reading, and I'm like.
And just what I mean by that is Rhett would do that a lot to me. Children.
Where is Shepard? And I just kind of looked, and he was like 10 feet behind me, sneaking up on me. He's like, oh, Dad!
Just in the open?
Yeah, and then repeatedly, he would leave and continue to sneak up on me. And I caught him every time.
Why you gotta catch him every time?
And then he was like,
he let him slip up once.
Can you hear me? And I was like, Shepard, I know where you're at all times.
Oh, you
This is an opportunity to make him feel like he can't escape my watch.
This is giving him the God complex.
But then one of the things he's like, Dad, there is he says, look at these secret in the little map. It was like, find our hidden spots. This is a large multi-acre situation. And he was like, find our hidden spots. There is a Fibonacci, he couldn't say it. He was like, there's a Fibonacci spiral of rocks somewhere in this particular forest. Let's go find it.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So we start looking for the Fibonacci spiral, and we didn't find it because, and ironically, we probably should have done a Fibonacci sequence search pattern in order to find the Fibonacci sequence, but we didn't do that, and we ran out of time. We had to go pick up Locke from school. Anyway, had an incredible time with Shepard.
Still undiscovered.
He kept saying, I'm having so much fun.
Oh, he kept saying that?
This is great. We're on an adventure.
That's awesome.
So I had a datitude. No, I didn't have a datitude. Degratitude. But let me say just one little thing here.
Say it.
And I'm a little bit embarrassed by this. As someone who has an engineering degree and has a lot of mathematical experience,
okay.
I could have picked out a Fibonacci sequence, and like if you gave me like 4 images, I could have picked the one that was a Fibonacci sequence, probably because I'm like Brandon Tart got it tattooed on his forearm. And other people.
It looks like a snail shell, right?
Right, but I could not have defined what a Fibonacci sequence is. And maybe you're in the same boat, speaking of transitions to what we're gonna talk about next. But a Fibonacci sequence is this fascinating thing. In fact, I actually ordered a book all about it because I'm so fascinated by it. And I'd heard about it and people talk about the golden ratio, but I was always like, I don't really know what that is and I'm not gonna look it up. But essentially a Fibonacci sequence is starting from the numbers 0 and 1 and then continuing in a sequence where the next number is the sum of the previous 2 numbers. So you got 0 and then 1 and the next number is 0 plus 1, which is 1. The next number is 1 plus 1, which is 2, and then 2 plus 1, which is 3, and then 5, and then 8, and then 13, and then 21, and it continues to add up like that. And then if you take, the way you get that pattern is if you take squares that the length of the side of the squares is the number in the Fibonacci sequence, and you continue to connect the corners of the squares with the next biggest one, it goes out like this and it creates like a snail pattern. A spiral that's a very recognizable pattern. But then if you take any 2 numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, the number and then the number before it, and you divide the number before it by the number after it, you get this number called phi, which we know pi is a very popular mathematical number, but phi is like 1.618 something. And that's the constant. That's the golden ratio, and you see it all the time in nature. But also, there's many like people who made sculptures who were like, I want the proportions of someone's face, the proportions of the length, the width of their face to be phi. And you see it in like, Hank Green's got an old SciShow video where he kind of, in like 3 minutes, kind of explains it and talks about the patterns and how you see these numbers and the sequence show up in nature all the time. Like flowers are usually have petals of, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. And it shows up in all these places in nature. And it seems like some magic thing, but really it's the most efficient way to like pack things into different patterns. Anyway, super exciting.
You should talk to my wife more about that, 'cause she's really into it. She was a math major.
She was.
She was also told as she was in high school that whatever she did with a boyfriend, that her grandma up in heaven was watching her.
Was her grandma Fibonacci?
No, it was just kind of like when you told Shepard that you're always watching him, so he stays in line.
But I'm super excited to talk to Shepard about it now, because it's like
now my wife's grandma watches me,
us.
Watching
right.
me. No, not us.
She's sitting right here.
No, whenever I'm with Christy.
No, whenever
she's watching us.
No, whenever you're with the band Chicago. That's
no, I can't.
That's when she's watching you.
My grandmas are still living, so they only watch me when I'm there or video chat.
But I'm legitimately like, I'm like, now
it's pretty crazy.
I'm ready to go back and A, find it.
I'm talking about the sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, but B, explain to Shepard like, this is actually this really cool concept that shows up. And I just felt, you know what it made me think? It made me think that like, I felt like I've been missing out. I was like, why have I never, I've heard people talk about this, and why have I let it just wash over me? I'm 41 years old, consider myself pretty curious. Why have I let the reality of the Fibonacci sequence to just wash over me without ever just taking literally the 30 seconds to look at the wiki to figure out what it is?
I understand the sentiment, but I'll just counter that by saying, also don't let that wash over you, but also don't let, and I'm sure you didn't, let the fact that Shepard told you, especially more than once, that he was having a good time. Because
it was awesome.
The dad, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, like the goal of dadding, we operate under a lot of times seems to be like, I'm conducting this thing and I want acknowledgement. And so the fact that you got that's a big deal. And I actually think if you didn't, you should tell him something similar to what I told Lincoln, because I sat Lincoln down when we were coming back from our ride. We were almost done. We sat down on the rocks and finished our water bottles, and I told Lincoln what I just told you. I was like, when we first started riding and you were riding ahead of me, I was thinking, this is like a dream come true for me. I've been thinking about us being able to ride mountain bikes together for like months, and there's a lot of logistics that had to line up, and this is very special. And I just said that, and then we took a picture and I left it at that. I wasn't asking for a response or anything. But the fact that Shepard did that, saying something like, when you said you were having a great time, that made me feel like I just discovered Fibonacci sequence.
Right.
That's what it's all about, man.
Also,
that's the boat you want to get in.
Also, rabbits mate in Fibonacci numbers. I'm gonna teach them about that. That's how I'm gonna have
or reproduce.
Well, the results of mating.
Okay.
I'm gonna teach them about sex with Fibonacci.
We're gonna get into boats in a second, but first we're gonna talk about merch.
I've got some merch on. You got some merch on. We actually have the same Happy Chomper. I've got the Happy Chomper on the striped black and white tee. Link has the Happy Chomper on the handkerchief.
I actually forgot this was merch. I'm just now, I thought you would have already called me out on this, but.
Well, I saw you made a choice in Nashville that you were gonna be a guy who wears handkerchiefs around your neck, like some sort of outlaw, and that's cool. I mean, I was like, you know what?
At least I like that interpretation, the outlaw interpretation. Bandana, what did he call it? Handkerchief.
Well,
yeah, it's a bandana.
I would use it as a handkerchief. I would blow my nose into it.
I do. I am fully prepared to defend myself, but you never went for it. So yeah, be like me.
Do you use it as
everything,
like a way to not get germs?
I'll wipe everything with it.
No, I'm saying like you can pull it up over you can do like the people do
bandits, like a bandit?
In the airports.
Yeah, like a bandit at the airport. Yeah, which is totally cool.
I like that rapper. What's the rapper?
Tupac?
No.
I don't wear it like Tupac did.
The guy that's popular now that wears the thing over his face all the time.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name. Get your handkerchief on.
A little something.
Your bandana. Mythical.store, get all types of stuff. We're just trying to keep you happy and surprised and repping your boys.
Okay, boats. So Link, you apparently have a list of different types of boats.
Yeah, I assembled a list and then of every type of boat in existence, and then I uploaded it to a brand spanking new wiki page called List of Boat Types.
That's very thoughtful of you.
This is entirely my work, in alphabetical order. So here's the deal.
Good gracious, there's a lot of boats.
As I read through, I'm not gonna read them all, but I'm just thinking, dear Ear Biscuiteer, maybe one of these boats will resonate with you, so that you'll be able to answer this question. And this is a good conversation for you to have with people that you want to get to know better. Like say you're on a third date and you're like, hey baby, what kind of boat would you be if you were a boat?
This is I think this is first or second date material. Those kinds of questions, those kinds of introspective questions. The third date.
I think it's a little forced for a first date. It's kind of weird, unless you are a therapist.
I mean, I know, I'm a proponent of getting into
get weird early
to those kinds of conversations because here's the thing. Obviously, I'm not in the dating pool. If I were, and I asked that question to someone and they were like, I don't know.
Dump them.
I'd be like, okay, there's not gonna be a second date.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a good test. I can't stand that kind of answer.
Right, so
I want somebody to have a freaking answer for something.
All right, that's good. So this is a first date question. You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, if you could be a boat.
This is how you weed somebody out.
What kind of boat would you, if you could be a weed, what kind of weed would you be?
And if they say, I don't know, and that's it. If they say, I don't know, well, what kind of boats are there? Well, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if they say, I don't know, and this essentially saying,
stupid.
I don't want to talk about this.
If they poo-poo the question.
They're not, I'm not gonna go on a second date.
Right, you can't poo-poo fun, esoteric question.
And if they say they say the wrong kind of boat, there's not gonna be a second date.
Well, you're gonna learn a lot. Airboat, auxiliary ship, banana boat, brig, bass boat. I'm like a bass boat. And you can't just say, because I'm a redneck. No, because I'm a fisherman. No,
it's the functionality of the boat. I'm
flat, I'm shallow. Bass boats are shallow.
Oh, really? So you're getting in, oh, you're
if you want to say, well, I'm shallow, so I'm a bass boat. I've got, I don't know, what else would it mean about you if you were a bass boat?
Limited capacity. I think, first of all,
yeah.
I think you should go through the boat types because I think the way that
canoe
you interpret the boats, like you just said shallow. That's your thing. Like for me, I wasn't thinking in terms of shallowness, but you can bring it. I think that's the point of the question.
There's no wrong answer.
Professor Punch, if she were here, she would be able to tell us. But I think it is what you make it.
I wish she worked for us.
Maybe that's how it works. Once you leave, your parents come and work for us.
Canoe.
Uh-huh.
Chundan Valam.
Not familiar.
Crash rescue boat. This is somebody who likes to swoop in and save the day, or whenever they're needed.
Yeah.
They're there. I'm not reading every single boat that I wrote on this wiki. I'm just whichever hits me. Dinghy. Let's see. Ferry. So this, I think, again, this is more of like a facilitator, somebody who likes to help people get from point A to point B, and that could be emotionally, it could be metaphysically, it could be physically if you're like a bus driver.
And that would be someone who was, in my interpretation, stuck in a pattern of only helping people because a ferry just goes back and forth and back and forth.
So on a first date,
like a codependency kind
your
of
date's
thing.
like, I think I'm a ferry because I'm stuck in a rut of helping people.
Yeah, I'd be like, no second date for you. Are you a dinghy?
Friendship sloop.
Okay, well that didn't know that was a boat, but I'm definitely that.
Garbage scow. I think I know what that is. It's a boat that carries garbage. Garbage scow. Hydrofoil. Oh, this is technologically advanced. It reaches a speed and then it floats above the water. well, not floats, it ascends. So this is like, I don't know what kind of person that would be. Maybe if you're like if your head's always in the clouds. I'm stretching here.
Well, I think a hydrofoil might be a little bit of a show off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Here I am, up above the water. You know,
you can't settle for just floating. You gotta levitate.
You always got to be moving too.
Inflatable boat.
Oh, reliant upon the hot air of other people.
Oh, I think that's you, man.
No, I've got all my own.
I blow
hot
a lot
air.
of smoke. You inflate with it. You blow a lot. Maybe I'm the inflatable boat because you're blowing smoke all the time. I'm talking BS
blowing
here,
smoke. I'm
blowing smoke up on my skirt.
full of hot air. You might be, which is still the same thing. Okay, keep going.
Airbag, man.
We got to talk about these.
Kayak, jet boat, lifeboat, longboat, log boat. I'm skipping one that's gonna be my answer for later.
Really? Okay, I'm not looking.
Motorboat, naval ship, like a big battleship. If you're combatant, there's a boat called an optimist, which is kind of cheating. If you're like, oh, well, I tend to think of myself as if I'm a boat, I'm an optimist. It's like, I ain't a boat.
Yeah.
That's just.
No second date.
You're short-circuiting the exercise. Actually, I'm not. Optimist is a boat, and it's
a dinghy.
Also known as the bathtub, is a small single-handed sailing dinghy.
Yeah.
What else we got?
The optimist is an optimistic way to call yourself a dinghy.
Oh, P. We've got patrol boat, pirogue, or pleasure barge, which is how my wife thinks of me when her grandma's not looking.
Oh gosh, your grandma's always looking.
Pleasure craft, pontoon, power boat. I don't know what a punt is. Is it type of boat?
I know what a punt is because I'm looking at doing that when I'm in England. It's like a canoe, basically, a rowboat, and then you stand in it with a large stick and propel yourself along a creek.
Oh, really?
You can go punting in England.
So instead of rowing, you're pushing off the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay.
I looked at one picture and that was my interpretation.
R, you got a river boat. Oh, you got the big wheel in the back.
Steamboat.
Rodney boat, which if your name's Rodney, that's also kind of short-circuiting the exercise here. Schooner, sea kayak, ship's tender, skiff, skipjack, sloop. Come on the sloop, John B. Submarine. I don't consider, is a submarine a boat?
How do you say it?
A submarine.
Where's the B?
It's underwater.
I was like, is this a boat?
You ever tried to talk underwater?
Submarine.
Try to say words with B's underwater. You won't get far.
You mean a submarine? Yeah, I've heard of that. And when it's on the surface, it's a boat.
If you saw a submarine out there floating, would you say, hey, look at that boat?
Well, they called the German submarines U-boats, and that was a boat. I think it's a boat. It floats.
Torpedo boat, trawler, tugboat. Tugboats, I mean, that's
always helping people in a jam.
I feel like I'm that around you a lot. Like, come on, let's do it. Let's get going, man. No, I don't feel that way. I feel like I might need to be tugged. What? What are you laughing at?
Your grandmother-in-law is watching, man.
I'm just saying, like, sometimes I'm not motivated at work. Just give me a tug.
I know you didn't mean that as an innuendo. I know that you did not. He did not mean it.
The only boat term
it.
under V is very slender vessel.
Yeah, okay, well, dang, that's what I picked for myself.
Well, what are we doing here?
I
think we should devote an entire podcast to just reading Wikipedia lists.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And riffing on it. And the only one for Z is Zilly. Okay, so what do you want to do at this point? Do you want to, you want to tell me what you think I am? And then I'll tell you what you think you are?
And then we'll go into the thing.
Okay. Go first.
Well,
I'm not gonna be offended by any of
well,
this.
first of all,
I have an open heart.
let me say a couple things, and just
you don't have to apologize.
And laying the runway for this. I didn't think about this a lot.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, what I learned pretty quickly is that if you imagine a boat type, almost like a horoscope, you can pretty quickly like find a way to make it match a person. But I think I've got something that I think is.
Well, like a jet ski and a pontoon boat are so different, and and those.
Okay, this is actually remarkable that you said both of those.
Okay.
It's remarkable that we haven't talked about this at all, and you just said those two things. Here's what I would say.
I am pretty remarkable. Thank you.
I think that someone who doesn't know you well.
Okay.
And maybe someone who just watches you on the internet might be like, Link's a jet ski, man.
A jet ski, yep, okay.
But I actually think you're a pontoon boat.
Really?
Yeah, that's
what you were thinking?
It's hilarious that you mentioned
thinking
that. I was thinking that you were a pontoon boat, and let me explain why.
Those are like polar opposites.
You might be like, Link's a jet ski, you never know, he's nimble, he's quick, you never know where he's gonna be, and boom, he's there, and boom, he's there, and he's a little flashy.
He's always squirting a tiny stream of water directly into the air.
Right, exactly.
They all do that, right?
Yeah.
Wave runners and whatnot?
But I think that's actually, the reason I don't think you're a jet ski is because jet skis change course very quickly. You never know where they're going to be. They're constantly changing direction, changing course.
You'll change course and then it'll take a right and you won't.
Right. And that is not your personality at all. You're much more grounded than I think most people understand.
I'm a soil man.
Now let me say a couple things about a pontoon boat that I think apply to you. Pontoon boats, they exist so people can have a good time.
Oh.
Like I mean, think about it. You got a pontoon boat. It's like no one looks at a pontoon boat and is like, if people look at a pontoon boat and they're like, well, we're gonna have a good time on that boat.
Yeah.
Like the purpose of that boat is to get on the boat and have a party.
We're gonna slowly have a good time.
And I think a lot of people can be accommodated by that. But there's a few things also about a pontoon boat, and that it's actually remarkably stable. However,
it's got those two big barrels underneath it.
However, and it happens every so often, and you hear it on the news.
Yeah?
When there is a pontoon boat accident,
what?
It's bad.
Oh gosh.
And it isn't like a sailboat that you knock it down and then it comes back the other. A pontoon boat goes under and everyone dies.
What is that? What does that mean about me? I don't know what you're saying. You're saying if something happened to me, a lot of people would die?
No, I am saying that you are not. You're way more flexible than you were when we were kids. But and I actually think that at this point in your life, you might actually be more flexible than the average person.
Are you about to take credit for that?
No, but
okay.
I do think I do think being married for a long period of time and also being in a close friendship, business partnership for a long time
definitely
makes people flexible. And so, but you like a pontoon boat is typically, it's on a lake. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm on a lake and this is where the fun is at, and I'm happy to be here, and you could potentially, I could turn on the motor and I could get out there into the river and go into the ocean, but you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to convince me to do that.
Not really, but practically speaking, there's a pontoon boat, its home is a territory. It's typically a lake.
You know what?
I mean, maybe you can take them on a sound or something.
You know what makes
you're not gonna go out into the surf.
And I'm not trying, and again, this isn't a perfect analogy because I'm also not saying that you're not adventurous. But your general disposition tends to be like, you know what? If I can stay at home this weekend and clean my garage, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I don't want to react too much because I have a different answer, but there is a lot of overlap. And so I'd like to come back to the pontoon boat and see how it works with what I think, what my answer for myself is.
Okay.
I think my answer for you is the answer that you have in your own brain for yourself right now.
Okay.
I think that you are thinking, and I too am thinking of you as a sailboat. Now I think first of all, just because whenever you are thinking about boats, I think the first thing you're gonna think about is a sailboat. You have this imagined aspirational love affair with the idea of sailing.
True.
We've talked about this.
Right.
We may have even established it as what you call a layer, and I call a phase, which we have discussed at length in an earlier Ear Biscuit that you can go back and listen to if you want to. I mean, you have if you pass a sailing book, you're gonna pick it up. If you pass a sailing channel on YouTube, you're gonna watch it.
True.
So I think that's the first thing you thought, and then you're motivated to make that describe you, because again, like you said, it can describe anything.
Yeah, interesting.
But then if I'm like, I actually think this could work because a sailboat is, you think of like adventurous new thing. You know, I think, and there's like you have to put in the work when you're sailing. You just can't lay back and troll around. You can't just crank it up and steer. It's my understanding. There's a sail involved. Right. And a lot of work and like a lot of research. Like the fact that you would research the Fibonacci sequence and then be angry at yourself that you hadn't done it before now. You felt the need to like state publicly that you're embarrassed by that. I think this dynamic of you wanna be able to say, okay, being an accomplished sailor requires something. By the way, I think I'm just making an argument for why you wanna be a sailor, not what your personality is.
Right, but it's about the boat, man.
Someone who sails needs to put in a lot of work, and then the fruits of that labor is that they can experience something new. And I do think that the work that you put into things is always motivated by experiencing something new. And I think it's well documented that the work that I put into things is to make something better, or to make a situation better, or to make the situation in contrast to more secure, more right. Yours is to achieve or experience something new. So like sailing is like, what's the next harbor?
Right.
What's the next adventure? What's around the next peninsula? So and there's also a lot of wood. You like wood?
Yeah, I got wood.
You like it? A lot of wood in a sailboat. So again, I'm making more of an argument that you really like sailboats, but I do think that it could apply, and I think that's what you're gonna build on when you say that your answer is a sailboat.
Okay. So do you want to respond to what I said about you first?
I kinda wanna just go with it. Just say sailboat.
Okay.
Am I right?
You're not, well, you're half right. Here's why you're half right.
What's half a sailboat?
A boat that is sinking. My first thought was sailboat.
Of course, yeah.
And
so I'm right about that.
Upon further review, I thought I want to be a sailboat, but I actually don't think that I quite am. Let me explain. So what you said about like, you know, and I you know, I tend to like embrace a new adventure, travel, like, I'm using this as an analogy, like move into something new and unknown, and going through unknown, potentially uncharted, dangerous waters to get there, like that's my lifeblood. Like I absolutely love that.
And it implies achievement. That's the other part.
Yeah,
which I think drives you.
And that is, I'm, we talked about it. We haven't done the podcast yet, but I am an Enneagram 3. And so I'm a performer, I'm an achiever, and I'm largely driven by accomplishment to my benefit and to my demise at times. But the one thing that I don't think applies to me with a sailboat is that a sailboat is, and I also tend to think, I think of myself as pretty resilient, like being able to right myself and that kind of thing, and in storms and that kind of thing. But a sailboat is very reliant. But by definition, it is not self-propelled. It is, you gotta get, the wind's gotta come along. And I actually think that I'm actually a little bit less resilient than a sailboat, and I'm significantly more self-propelled than a sailboat. I actually think I'm I'm gonna use the qualifier, cheap yacht. and this is why I say that. So in some ways, like a yacht, like a power boat that's made to go long distances. So it embraces adventure. It can get you to the same places that a sailboat can. Not quite as sure of a thing as a sailboat because again, you're under your own power. Not quite it doesn't have the same ability to right itself. Yachts tend to be a little bit, depending on, and I say cheap because, you go to like a seaside town and you go to the harbor and you see everybody's got their boats and they got their yachts, and there's big yachts, there's little yachts, there's yachts in between, and you got like the CEO yacht, which is this really expensive, magnificent yacht that's got like a helicopter pad on it. I'm not that. I'm like the guy who just got together money and went in debt to get this boat that kind of, looks like it could belong in a harbor, but it's posing a little bit.
Okay.
But I think that the self-propelled nature of it is.
So you're a self-reliant poser.
Well, and just because, and it's funny because it's interesting, as you talk about your kids, and I look at my kids, and you see qualities from yourself and your kids, and qualities from your partner and your kids, and like Locke is like really just self-motivated, right? Like he once he got in his mind that he wanted to play basketball or make good grades, or like he's learning a language in school, and then he's learning a language on his own, and he's like, well, because learning a language is like so good for your brain, and like I hear myself when he goes into these explanations, but it's almost like it's intensified, because Jesse's also very self-motivated, so it's almost like it's very intensified in him, and you kind of like reflect back on yourself. And again, I think that I don't always think this is a good thing. I think that, like you said, I shouldn't feel any shame or embarrassment for not knowing what the Fibonacci numbers are, but I have a dual motivation for knowing them. It's part a genuine interest and a genuine curiosity, because it's like, this is a reality that exists in our universe that is this fundamental thing that can be observed in all these different ways, and it's like, it feels significant, and it feels like I'd be missing out if I didn't understand it. But then the other half is, I want to be able to talk about it. I want to be able to tell someone about it so that I will seem smart. I have to fight against that tendency.
Kind of like when a cheap yacht pulls up next to like a pontoon.
Exactly.
And just like starts filling his ear full of stuff.
Well, and that's the constant battle of the Enneagram 3, is like there's a lot of good that can come from that personality, but then you can actually get very caught up in your own stuff, and believe your own. What is it? What is the phrase? Smell your own or something. What is it?
I've never heard that. I've done it, but I've never heard it.
You know what I'm saying. So anyway, I think I'm a cheap yacht.
Cheap yacht because you're self-motivated and you still like to go a lot of places.
And I suffer from imposter syndrome. I think that's where the cheap yacht comes in, is that we do a lot of different things. We have the privilege of doing a lot of different things. We talked about a little bit like playing at the Ryman, like there's many times that we get to do things, and I suffer from heavy doses of imposter syndrome where I'm like, I shouldn't be here. Like I'm just a dude that can, write a funny song and convince people that I've got some talent.
We got way too many balls jokes to be at this.
Right.
Yeah,
so I think that's where the cheap part comes in.
The high church of country music.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, the high church of country music. That's not what it's actually called. What's it called?
The mother church.
The mother church. Okay. Who am I to critique that? There's no wrong answers.
Right, yeah.
That's cool insight. That if we were on our first date, I'd be like, oh, no second date here. Okay. Shall I talk about my boat? Well, I did think the backdrop to my thought process was Chrissy and I were talking about one of the contributing factors to the health of our marriage 19 years in. And I was like, I just think for us, the compatibility, like the core compatibility that we had, we've changed a lot, and yeah, we've changed together. Even though at every turn you don't have to, who knows how you can't control exactly the person you become. We're very fortunate that we've changed in a parallel path. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of it has to do with that core compatibility, which I kind of boil down to, we both really place a high value on comfort and security. Like those are and so it motivates us so much that, yeah, you're exactly right. When I say when I'm given an opportunity of you wanna travel anywhere on the globe next weekend, or you wanna just stay at home and re-clean your garage. And that's not an easy decision. It's I'm not saying it's automatic, but I'm saying that's a difficult decision for me and Christy. And it's that could be a big source of conflict if somebody never wants to re-clean their garage. Right. So we have we got the same instinct when it comes to those things. And so I was, that conversation is kind of coloring my boatage. And so, yeah, I definitely thought about a pontoon boat, because I was thinking about a jet ski versus a pontoon boat, and how jet skis all about fun, but a pontoon boat is still they're still fun. Yeah. On a lot of fun. It's a party boat, but it's a controlled fun. Right. There is a control element to I have a vision for how I think things should be, and my motivation is usually pretty pure in I want to have fun, I want people to have fun, I want people to enjoy themselves, experience love, be themselves, that type of stuff. And then I moved on to, wow, I don't know if I'm a pontoon boat. I think I might be. I place such a value on things being my space being nested, and the way that I want it. My home is such a haven to me. I'm I think I might be a houseboat.
Okay.
And I was kind of curious because, Jessie has such a vision for how she wants your house to look. And I feel like that's weighted much more towards her. And it is for me and Christy too. She's very talented at decorating and does our house and stuff and all that stuff. But I'm very much involved in in everything, because I want it to be how I want it to be from a practical standpoint. I take so much joy in knowing that everything's where I want it to be in the garage, or that our backyard works in this way, or I want to be able to sit here and see this while doing this and listening to this music, and put a lot of work into my house. So that's when I started to think, yeah, I could be a houseboat, but I think I'm a yacht. And I settled on in the brief amount of time that I thought about this, I actually set it on, and I ain't even talking about like a 2-bit yacht. We both have said yachts for ourselves. My answer is freaking yacht. Oh. And I went all the way to like helicopter pad and everything because I place an overemphasis on my environment being exactly how I want it to be and it as luxurious as it can be. Like I want my life to be engineered, not for my pleasure alone, but for my comfort and security, you know? So that's when I thought about a yacht, I guess maybe it's a pontoon yacht. I do like to go places and I like to experience adventure, but it has to be much more on my terms than I think yours would be. I didn't think about like am I self-motivated? That didn't enter into my equation or anything.
I can see that.
Comfort and security. Like I want a yacht with a chef.
Well, maybe you're like a yacht.
A security detail.
You're a yacht on like the Great Lakes. You know what I'm saying? The Great Lakes can be, I mean, you can't see the other side.
Are there yachts on the Great Lakes?
Heck yeah. Have you seen how big they are? Look at a map, man. They're massive.
Yeah, I've just never looked at
the
Great Lakes.
You can get caught in a squall on the Great Lakes too.
Chicago. I've seen the Great Lake at Chicago.
I
open the door and it just blasts.
And also a yacht is a pretty broad, incidentally, a very broad term. I mean, like, I don't know what the technical definition of it is, but it is one of the more flexible terms for boats. So it doesn't surprise me that for different reasons we ended up there. I mean, I think that,
I could probably just go back to settling on houseboat because I think that does, I've never been on a houseboat, but I imagine
I spent an evening on one.
Really?
A weekend.
Well, I imagine them being, if you're gonna live there, they better be how you want them to be, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to, I can endure this until we get to like, if we get through the squall, and I can get back to the mainland.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and this is another show I want to do. I was talking to you about this, because you talk about like making these decisions and getting things the way that you want.
Yeah.
And the way that I relate to that, because we're basically redoing our homes in similar amounts of change. Like you guys have done more already, but like I'm redoing my whole backyard this summer, and we've redone, like, there's a bathroom inside. You guys just finished a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's renovations. We redid our kitchen, that kind of thing. And my involvement is very much like aesthetically, I don't like, I care, but I also know that if Jesse narrows it down to 5 different options for tile,
they're all gonna be awesome.
They're all gonna be great. So
right.
If like she's showing them to me, they've already gotten through so many levels of discretion that I'm just like, just make the decision. Like, I'm not particular. I want it to be cool, and I want it to look good, but I know that it will be if you do it, and so I'm not particular, so I'm not gonna, what I do is I say, I care about like a few practical things, not to the level of detail, anywhere close to the level of detail that you do, but I like, okay, where's the grill gonna go? It's like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, this is important, I'm gonna use this thing, I'm gonna be the man at the grill, I wanna think about what kind of grill it's gonna be, and I'll get really excited about the specific type of grill and where it is, but then it's not gonna go much deeper than that. And I think, about what I wanted to say is the episode that I wanted to do is we're both in the market to get a new vehicle.
You can get a boat that drives on land, I think.
And I'm fascinated with the differences in the way that we make that decision.
Oh.
So you're talking about surrounding yourself with luxury and getting things the way you want, but the decision to get a new car has been one that has, I mean, I'm not gonna get into it because I think there's a whole episode there.
We can save that.
But it's interesting because
so we gonna have a boat episode and a car episode.
Well, but at least
the transportation series.
But at least the
Biscuits.
boat episode is not like what kind of boat am I gonna buy? Because that's like next level douche.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it's just like what kind of car am I gonna buy?
What kind of private plane am I?
We could get into some douchiness in that conversation. But I think it's very revealing about the nature of our personalities and the way that we make decisions about those kinds of things. But the way that we both ended up kind of landing on yacht.
That's funny. I think that means that we should go in on a yacht.
Huh.
With like 100 other people. How many people is it? I mean,
a yacht share?
Yeah, can you do that? I think I'm much more interested in like getting a yacht than I am about more introspection at this point. So let's continue our own conversation that way, but I'll open it up. Hashtag Ear Biscuits. Let us know what boat you think you are. And if you're on a first date and you're listening to this, you don't listen to us during the first date. I mean.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I mean, but I do recommend that you recommend us to anyone you're dating.
But if somebody
and listen separately so we get twice the listens.
If somebody asks you to listen to a podcast on the first date, that is a red flag. Even if it's this one.
Yeah. But let's make an exception for ours.
I mean, maybe a portion of
any
a podcast.
Other podcast.
But a podcast is like typically like an hour of just listening to other people.
How's that different
talk.
than going to a movie? All right, let's save that too. Let's say we got another whole episode about first dates.
You shouldn't go to a movie on the first date. That's a red flag.
There you go.
What are you gonna learn about somebody sitting next to them, looking at a screen? Nothing.
If you
watch a movie and you talk about it, but I don't know, man.
That's a hot take. That's harsh take.
Okay.
Hashtag Ear Biscuits, let us know what kind of boat you are and why, or what kind of boat someone you're dating said they were and why. Let's make a recommendation. Is it my turn?
Yep.
I gotta go back to music because here's the thing. Nothing is more exhilarating than, well it probably is, I gotta backtrack already, but I love the exhilaration associated with discovering an artist and then realizing they got a whole backlog of material. So it's not like the horses in the back guy. You look at him on Spotify, that's the only song he's got. Well, he's got the remix with Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, pretty limited.
I'm not recommending that. I'm not panning it either though. But when you look on Spotify, you find something somewhere, and then you're like, "Whoa, there's albums! Like I could deep dive. Let's do it." And then, when you like the song, and then you click over to the wiki because you like knowing a little bit about the backstory, and you realize that this artist is described as a virtuoso violinist, who then is also well known as a whistler.
What?
He's a virtuoso violinist and a virtuosistic, yeah, whistler.
At the same time?
Could be. Yeah, he can sing and play the violin at the same time. And he's got a number of instrumental albums.
How did you find
one is called Canyon and one is called River. And I think at least with the Canyon one, maybe with both, he would take his violin and he would play in that location.
What's his name?
In Utah. I ain't telling you yet, man. I'm building it up.
Oh.
See, you want it so bad, but you can't get it yet.
Oh, I wouldn't say I want it that bad.
And he takes his violin and he does these looping and layering parts, and it's amazing. But that's just instrumental stuff. And then his brand new album that just came out, I'm like, this sounds like the guy who Father John Misty has been impersonating. I mean, he's got that sound. So I'm just joking. I'm sorry, Father John. I'd like to be your friend. I'm not saying you're impersonating.
So he sings as well?
He sings.
Oh, it's not all whistling, because that would get old.
Right. So he is a lyricist and a vocalist and a touring musician. And his name is Andrew Bird. Dude is awesome.
Andrew Bird.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew Bird. Check out his song Sisyphus. He's got a whistling part in that. And it's one thing to hear the whistle, but then it's another thing to watch him on his Instagram perform it live, and he just effortlessly goes into this like immaculate whistle.
I give a lot to whistle. Well, I can't whistle, man.
You can't whistle at all.
You can make yourself an instrument at any time. I can hit like 2 notes.
Too hairy. I can whistle like this too.
Just as high as I can get.
That's a tongue whistle.
And I can go.
That sucks, man.
I'm like a tea kettle. You know what I'm saying? I got a limited range.
Now I can't. You took away my whistle.
Yep.
I can't do the fingers in the mouth whistle. That's a big dad play.
Yeah.
We gotta work on that. So there it is. Andrew Bird, check him out. Shouts outs to the man with the whistle, with the golden whistle.
Okay.
All right. Let's start searching up some yachts, man. Let's see how much
maybe we should just.
let's just rent a yacht.
Maybe we should just go on a pontoon boat first.
Like Chase said, he went to a wedding this past weekend on a yacht.
Well, you remember I wanted to have my birthday party on a yacht and have the yacht rock band, and then I looked into the price.
Yeah, and if that's an indication you will not be purchasing a yacht. To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.